And so we are joined by Councilor Edwards, as well as Councilor Gomez and the Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Commissioner Helen Colton-Harris, for the weekly COVID-19 Response Committee meeting. I'm Chairman Jesse Letterman. Thank you all for joining us. We'll begin, as usual, with our update from the Commissioner and move into questions. So we'll turn the floor over at this time to the Commissioner to share any updates with us as she feels pertinent. Commissioner, thank you as always for all your work and for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Councilors. Good to be with you this evening. Our COVID update for this week, once again, I will tell you that the data is on the city's website if you'd like to take a closer look at it. As you know, last week was really the week before last was really a very troubling week for us. We had 886 cases, and that was really very disturbing as far as our city is concerned. This week, we had 500. Last week, we had 510. So the week of September 12th, there was 886. The week of September 19th, there were 510. That represents a 42.4% reduction in the cases that we had. So what drove the cases of that 886? So last week in the 0 to 10-year-old, the week before last in the 0 to 10-year-olds, we had 199. Last week, there were 96. In the 11 to 20-year-olds, we had the prior week, 163, and last week, 101. The 21 to 30 age group of the week prior was 142, and the last week was 102. In the 31 to 40-year-old age category, there was 152 the week prior, and last week was 80. The 41 to 50-year-old age category, there were 98 the week before and 51 the last week. In the 51 to 60-year-old age category, there were 52 the week prior and 27 last week. In the 61 to 70 age group, there were 51 the week prior and last week 31. In the 71 to 80 age group, there were 20 the week prior, and last week was 16. And the 81 to 90-year-old age group stayed consistent at 6. And then the 91 to 100 age group, there were 3 the week prior and 0 last week. What we have noticed in the data that I reported to you is that 0 to 10-year-old age group cannot be vaccinated, as we know, and the 11 to 20 age group, some of those individuals cannot be vaccinated. And so what we saw the week prior was really a younger group that really was making up over 300, I believe it's 386 cases out of that 886. So that week was really driven by that younger age group. In the 30 and under age group, they made up 58% of our cases last week, and the week prior was 57%. And then that 31 to 50-year-old age category, the week prior was 28%, last week 26%. And then the 51 and older was 15% the week prior, and last week was 16%. In the month of September last year, there were 318 cases total for the month of September. This September, we have already reached 2,212. Let me back up to August of last year, where there were 182 cases for the entire month of August. And this August, there was 1,877. So the months of August and September, and obviously we are not out of September yet, But what we do know is that that number is going to obviously surpass that 318 of last year because it already has. Right now, in September of 2021, we have again 2,212 cases. In August of this year, there were 1,877, as I reported. There is additional data on the city's website. The zip codes the zip codes are up there, as well as some race and ethnicity data. Going to just move quickly into vaccinations. And so individuals with at least one dose, I'm in the Black community, one dose, 45%. In the Hispanic community, one dose, 38%. In the white community, one dose, 66%. Certainly, there are other races that are represented in the data, but those are the three high levels that I'll give you. Certainly, you can look on the city's website. I will put this up as well, so you can look at all races and ethnicities over time as far as the data is concerned. Fully vaccinated individuals in the city of Springfield right now, as we look at Hispanic fully vaccinated, 32%. As we look at Black fully vaccinated, 39%. Look at white fully vaccinated, it is 60%. And so those are the fully vaccinated. And again, there are other races involved. If you'd like me to give those to you, I'm happy to do that after I finish. So the overall vaccination rate for the city of Springfield currently is 49%. So I will leave the data there and just ask if there are any questions you'd like to ask about the data and or the city's response.
Thank you, Commissioner. Councilor Edwards and Councilor Gomez, although actually, Councilor Gomez, I need to rename you. I think I accidentally named you Councilor Edwards as well. So I will fix that right now. So Councilor Edwards and Councilor Gomez, if you have any questions for the Commissioner, if you want to feel free to jump in. I just wanted to ask one thing first, Commissioner, relative to the development of the Youth Council. I'm glad to see that the initial members have been named. I think that's a fantastic and important initiative. I was wondering if you might give us just a brief update on their work, and I'll certainly invite them to a future meeting as well to meet with the councilors. But I know you've named 3 members and they've begun some work, so I was hoping you might be able to speak to some of their activity.
Absolutely. And these are 3 amazing young people. Actually, they met today, and their ideas, and I'm glad that you're going to have them on, Councilor Letterman. You will be so impressed with the 3 initial members. They met today. They have lots of ideas, lots of initiatives. Well, one thing that was really impressive to me is that they were talking about overall health, and they were saying, you know, COVID is important and we're going to work to get our vaccination rates up, but we don't want to stop there. We want to look at the health of young people across the spectrum in the city of Springfield and begin to talk about that as well. The young man, Jason Hernandez, was at the football game that happened this week with, and forgive me, is it AGI or the team that played Central? And he actually spoke at halftime about the vaccination efforts and the need for young people to be vaccinated, which is wonderful. So yeah, I'm glad you're going to have them on. They have begun their process of working together again. They met today, and it's just exciting, the energy that they're bringing to this effort.
That's excellent. And one thing in that respect I was going to reach out to you about, but since we're here and I can send a follow-up email, I was wondering if it might be helpful in their work, as I know social media will play a big role, if we could, whatever marketing partners we have. I know when we were writing the climate action plan almost 7 years ago now, we had a communications consultant that did an assessment for us of social media influencers in the city, and they were actually able to show us who and what individuals were having the largest social media followings in the city, and we were able to reach out to some of those individuals and partner with them around, at that time, putting out information on sustainability and the environment. But that might be a good tool if we could try to conduct some sort of analysis in that regard for this effort. And I can certainly follow up with you, but that might be something to pass on with some of the dollars that we have. I think it would be a worthy effort.
We do have a social media individual, Axiom Blue, that's working with us around social media. We do have a Facebook page, as you know. We also are on Twitter and Instagram. So we do have a media presence. Hopefully that will bring in some additional young people. Councillor Fenton reached out about social media presence, and he actually spoke with our consultant around our media efforts already. But I think it is certainly always a worthy effort to try and make sure that we're using every tool possible to reach young people and people in general. But I'm happy, Councillor, to give you, her name is Fernanda Myers, who speaks 3 different languages, including Spanish, to reach out to her, because I know that she contacted Councillor Fenton after he contacted me. I just linked them together, but I'm happy to give you her information as well, so you can begin the discussion with her as far as your ideas are concerned.
That'd be excellent. Thank you so much. I'll follow up. Councillor Gomez, did you have a question?
Well, I'm concerned with our community being so low, and what we are to do. Right away, it comes to mind that I believe that Hispanic elected officials, we need to get together and develop a plan here, and what are we to do in either get into the media, doing some type of coverage to entice our folks to get vaccinated, because that really worries me, being at 32%. That's just my comment to it.
Councilor Gomez, it worries all of us that the Black and Hispanic communities have low vaccination rates. The Commonwealth did give money to certain organizations in the Hispanic community, and to do that very targeted outreach. But any help that you're able to give would be so welcome and appreciated. And I know that the community would want to be supportive. I think you know the organizations, individuals that have been funded by DPH to do that outreach. If you don't have that information, I'm happy to email it or text it to you.
No, I do know that the organizations that have received this money, but I see this organizations or hear this organization doing absolutely nothing out there to get the word out. So we need to talk to somebody in these organizations and find out what in the heck they're doing, because me in my ward, and I have one of those major organizations in my ward, that I haven't heard nothing whatsoever that is happening to entice our people to get vaccinated. So it's not happening. The money's there. Well, let's not get there, but that worries me.
Thank you, Councilor. It worries me as well.
Commissioner, it might be possible as well for perhaps Councilor Gomez to attend the Thursday meeting with the outreach groups that I know you hold, perhaps to get, I know that was a helpful exercise for me when I was there. I did also see something specifically from one organization in the North End today that was just launched. So Councilor Gomez, we can connect around that as well, because I saw they had one piece out relative to, I think, what both of you are speaking about.
Thank you.
Councilor Edwards. No. All right. Commissioner, I just had two more questions for you. One was if you could report out on what we're hearing at the Thursday meetings with the outreach teams. And then the second was how things are going in the schools relative to the pool testing, as well as just in general, what we're hearing from parents, students, and teachers, if you have insight into that.
As far as the Thursday meetings are concerned, and again, Councilor Gomez, I'm happy to send you the link if you want to hear about the outreach efforts that people are reporting that they are doing. So in the Thursday meeting really is just sharing best practices around outreach and where the outreach is happening. The state does put out at those meetings the wards and the information about where the outreach teams are at or where they've gone during that week. So that data is available, Councilor Gomez, and I'm happy to try and get you that. But they do say where they're going, what neighborhoods they're in, what streets they're in, what times they're in those streets, on those streets. So that information is available. So Councilor Letterman, that's really what's going on with the Thursday meeting. It's still that best practices sharing. It's still talking about the vaccination. It's still talking about testing. And really, they're very useful meetings because we can hear from each other what's going on. But it's the kind of update that you heard. The state is on those meetings. As you know, DPH is a part of those meetings. So they're there for guidance and information. So it's a valuable tool. It's still happening every Thursday. And people are trying to work together to get those vaccination rates up. As far as the schools are concerned, I'll be on the call with the school committee this Thursday. And what I will do with them is go over the data that is happening in the under 20 population, which I present to them at their meetings. There is vaccinations going on, as I'm sure you know. The school department has partnered with the Big Y. They did vaccinations, I believe it was last Thursday, and I believe they had between 50 and 60 young people vaccinated. They will be going to all of the high schools to be able to do vaccination clinics. So they will be rotating to try and get as many individuals vaccinated as possible. The barrier really is making sure parents who need to send back permission slips do that. So we can't vaccinate unless we get those permission slips back. So there's an all-out effort to make sure that we are doing that. Pool testing has been a challenge because we changed labs and we are now in a position to have to work with another lab to make sure that all of our processes and procedures are consistent. So that's been a bit of a challenge. I am not going to say more about that because I think that Jeannie Clancy should report to the school committee what she is finding as far as our partnerships with the new lab is concerned. And she will do that on Thursday.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Commissioner. If there's no further questions, Councilor Gomez, Councilor Edwards, Commissioner, as always, is there anything that we can specifically do for you in the next 2 weeks as you continue your work?
The numbers for this week are looking much better for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I'm hopeful that we continue to see this downward trend. I'm hopeful that the mask mandate is having an impact as far as our numbers are concerned. I'm very concerned about us going indoors. I think our outdoor events as the weather gets colder will probably be safe. But I am very concerned about us moving back indoors, the holidays. And so we'll have to continue to be vigilant together and hope that we can make sure that we're doing everything we can to protect the residents of our city and the Western region. So whatever you can do as far as your platforms are concerned, I would be very appreciative where you are to try to get individuals to be able to get vaccinated and make sure we're continuing to test, and inviting the young people on for their perspective would also be a good strategy.
Excellent. Well, then I will follow up with you directly to schedule the youth council members for the next meeting. I think that would be valuable on both ends. And we'll follow up with you as well on a couple other points tomorrow.
Is there anything else?
No, I think that's it. It looks like, so I appreciate, as always, you joining us for the regular meeting. And I do see we have a guest that had logged on, Mr. Riley. Thank you for joining us, and please feel free to reach out if we can be of service to you as well.
Thank you very much for allowing me to attend. I really appreciate all your efforts. Thank you.
Mr. Riley, could you introduce yourself? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with who you are.
Absolutely. I apologize for not doing that. Peter Riley. I live in Manor Court, 127 Manor Court in East Forest Park. Just an active citizen, like to stay active with the East Forest Park Civic Association and other groups, just to stay in touch and to network as I can.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your introducing yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Riley, for joining us, and thanks to the councilors and commissioner. We'll reconvene not next week, but the following week. We'll reach out and schedule a youth council, and councilors, as always, any particular agenda items, please feel free to forward them over.